Young, some folks with North Mississippi Storm Chasers and Spotters helping us out today. A lot of folks working behind the scenes here to continue to bring you the most up-to-date information at this point. The way things stand is we have tornado watch boxes, what we call a particularly dangerous situation, PDS tornado watch box. That's this area back toward the west. That in effect until 8 p.m. Watches include the Golden Triangle in effect until 8 p.m. And then the new watch to the north and east, and I'll be honest because I've been talking for hours on end. I got to double check the time here. In effect until 11 p.m. That does include folks in North Alabama as well as the far northeastern quadrant of the WTVA viewing area. So the situation that continues to unfold is that these thunderstorms are going to continue to attempt to produce tornadoes over the next couple of hours as they move toward the northeast. The speed's 60 miles per hour. That's a mile a minute. That's extremely fast. Joel has a little new information coming in. Joel?
Yeah, this is actually a report from Panola County from a storm that already passed through there, but multiple homes damaged south of and it was relayed via social media. Time is radar estimated, and I think that's the one that's going through northern Pontotoc County now. Is that correct?
Okay, but the time on that I think was 3:55. So we can go back and double check that. Let's check that location here.
I had to restart my computer, so that may actually be what.
Okay.
That.
Gotcha. So let's see here if we can double check the time. That would have been, yeah, that was a ways back there. So that was probably one of the earlier thunderstorms. Well, no, that might be the Union County. I can't quite get back far enough for it. These are moving so fast, and we've had enough of them, but nonetheless, it's one of those days. By the way, Joel, don't worry about MDOT cams. If it's going to crash the computer, it's not worth it.
Good.
Yeah, I know that's music to your ears. Okay, so let's start with the northern one of these. Tornado still believed to be produced on this thunderstorm. Let's check the wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. Still substantial, strong rotation, gate-to-gate shear, 92 miles per hour. As we go up a couple of scans on Storm Track Doppler radar, we'll get the latest lock on the location. Pretty close to that. We're getting really close. A matter of less than a minute or two before this is into Blue Mountain. 112 miles per hour pixel-to-pixel wind change. That is substantial, and that is damaging, and that is a close call for Blue Mountain. Estimated 2 minutes on Storm Track Doppler radar. That's the center part of town. We're talking a minute to the outside edge of town in Blue Mountain. We've got to stay in our tornado safe place on the lowest floor. At the moment, let's go and zoom in and let's look at the potential for tornado debris on this thunderstorm. The reason we do that is if we can confirm that this is producing a tornado, research shows us that people pay closer attention. And at this point, we can't confirm it with the debris tracker on Storm Track Doppler radar. That's not to say there isn't something occurring at the ground level, but radar is always looking up a little higher, so sometimes it's 100 mile per hour shear aloft and it's 60 at the surface, so it's trying to spin down. I still believe that this is close enough. Anytime it's 100 miles per hour or greater, we believe it could be a tornado that touches down, and debris tracker will only see debris after the tornado's occurred. It's not going to do us any good before the tornado happens. So this is moving into the city grid of Blue Mountain as we speak. What we believe could possibly be a tornado on the ground at this moment. Looking at the latest location of this, we go up a couple scans on Storm Track Doppler radar. I'd probably place it right there, pretty much right along County Road 829 south of Blue Mountain. We have to be in our safe place. We're talking moments, if not just seconds, before this crosses into the southern part of the city grid of Blue Mountain. This is going to cross very close to the intersection of 368 and 15 in Tippah County. So we've got to be in our safe place if we are in Tippah County because of this. This is a substantial and likely damaging and possibly, if you don't take it seriously, life-threatening tornado. Farther south and west, there's our tornado warning out that does include New Albany. We talked a lot about that earlier. Radar indicated the words coming from the Weather Service. As you can see the rotation, that little donut hole there indicating where the precipitation is kind of wrapping around there. Still wider scale rotation with all these thunderstorms. Unfortunately, we're just right in the middle spot between the Memphis radar and the Monroe County radar, and so we're still looking kind of high, and that leaves a little more guesswork, a little more wiggle room in this because of that, because we can't look as close to the surface as we could if it were in Monroe, Chickasaw, or southern Lee County, or if it were up right in the Memphis metro, closer to either of those radars. So with the rotation where it's at, I would place the time before this makes it to ETA at, again, moments. If this held together and made it to New Albany, we'd be talking 14 minutes before it made it inside the middle of New Albany, so maybe only 12 minutes to the edge of New Albany. So we need to be in our safe place now. Let's get the angle of this right. Make sure we can say that it's coming to New Albany, and it's going to be close. It might pass a little north of New Albany. The question is, are you willing to take that chance? I'm not. So, as we track it toward the north and east, I'm gonna include Myrtle in this track. Make sure we get Myrtle in there. As you can see, 7 minutes in the Myrtle. Rotation that could be a tornado in the generation phase. When we look at the wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar, we look at that pixel-to-pixel wind change. The wind change at the lowest levels hasn't updated quite the positioning to pretty much right on top of Eta, but that's about where I put my positioning right now, is right on top of Eta. 77 miles per hour, it goes at the lowest possible level. That's from the Monroe County site. As we go up a couple of scans to refine that positioning, well, that positioning is accurate as of the latest scan there in Monroe County. So let's, we'll put that in the Eta in probably seconds. We're talking 10 seconds. I mean, if it's not already there, it's there soon. So 0 minutes, what Storm Track Doppler radar goes. Darden, 3 minutes, 7 minutes into, it says Old Myrtle, which it plots on the radar here as south of, I guess what would be New Myrtle then. Myrtle, we say 9 minutes at that speed of 60 miles per hour. A tornado at this instant indicated as radar indicated. We can't confirm it at the moment. We're not going to be able to confirm until after it happens. It's night. All of a sudden it's up on you. Oh, I can confirm I have a tornado. That's the way this goes. Spotters find things after the fact. It's not preventative. So we have to assume that it's a tornado on the ground until we can say otherwise. I can't say otherwise right now. That's why the tornado warning's been issued. And so in this case, the type of tornado warning we're dealing with is a little different than what we dealt with earlier. We're dealing with a Doppler radar indicated tornado warning. Doppler radar sees rotation that could lead to the development of a tornado. What it does not see is debris at this moment. We don't have that debris signature showing up. And what we do not have is confirmation from storm spotters that a tornado has been spotted. We're monitoring that. We have folks with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers and Spotters in here helping us out with that. But at this moment, we can't confirm that, and that's a good sign. Hopefully a sign we continue to see. So obviously, over top of Eta and the Darden communities right now, tornado warning and a storm that has a potential to continue to try to produce a tornado. This storm nearer Kiel there still has rotation with it. That rotation isn't as impressive as it was, say, 30 minutes ago, but still shows some rotation there that we're going to have to watch. And because it's kind of the last storm in this batch, sometimes it has a little cleaner inflow. At the same time, this area has been a little worked over, so you have two things working against each other. So that balance sometimes tips in the direction of stronger. So we'll have to continue to keep coming back to that and double checking that. Let's go back to precip mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. And the information, by the way, coming in on that in just the last couple of moments, the continuation, the Weather Service has clipped that back. The wording still radar indicated, hail that could be in excess of 1 inch possible on that thunderstorm. And it has it at the location near Cambridge. They've slowed that one down to 40 miles per hour. We might have to double check that there. Still more thunderstorms back to the west, but weaker. Not necessarily weak, but weaker. We've lost the heating of the day. And one other thing, and we're going to break from just radar for a quick second here, for a hot second, then we're going back in to Tippah County where we have potentially a tornado on the ground at this moment as well. But this little extra bulge of moisture right there, that extra bulge of moisture is what has helped from time to time today these thunderstorms to be more significant. We're right at the edge of that moisture bulge, kind of at the edge of what sort of is a front but sort of isn't a front. That's why we're not really cooling off behind it the next couple of days. And so this line is going to shift in, and it's right at the edge of that we're going to have to continue watch even later this evening that some of these thunderstorms could rotate and try to produce tornadoes. So while by 8 to 9 o'clock tonight, the long track on the ground, hour-long tornado threat's going to be over, the quicker, shorter-term tornado threat could still exist. That's why some of these watches are in effect longer than that. Let's bring it into Tippah County. A tornado warned thunderstorm, one that we believe could be a tornado at this moment still on the ground. In fact, we have confirmation on that thunderstorm within the last few minutes here at 5:28 p.m. Multiple structures damaged in Benton County, according to the Weather Service in Memphis. That was as of 5:28 p.m. Current time is 5:40, so that's a fairly recent report. We go back, and that would have been right there. That would have been, let's get to the location, 1 east of Canaan in Benton County. See if we can get Canaan to pop on the map here. And of course not. I believe you go to 528, that's where it is, right there. So confirmation of multiple structures damaged south and east of Hickory Flat at 5:28 p.m. So that thunderstorm now has, in the last few moments, moved through Blue Mountain. So if we get a chance, and this is a note for the newsroom, if we get a chance in the newsroom, we might call up the Tippah County and check on Blue Mountain, just to see that they made it through, since that was a confirmed tornado touchdown. I would put my tornado awful close to Ripley now. God, they just move so fast. It's so hard to stay on top of them today. 60 miles per hour is just really fast. It's a mile a minute. That's a good sign. Okay, so, well, now that's interesting. Did I have two? I may or may not have had two tornadoes. We might have gotten lucky when this moved through Blue Mountain that we might have been cycling. The northern circulation here gets wrapped in. You'll notice the latest scan here, that northern circulation is a lot less impressive, and all of a sudden, bam, right there, east of Blue Mountain, much, much stronger. So cross our fingers that weekend right as it moved into Blue Mountain. Hopefully that'll be the case. But nonetheless, this is incredibly, it's an impressive radar signature here just east of Blue Mountain. 119 what we call gate-to-gate shear. And considering the life cycle on this, that's a tornado on the ground. Let's go back and check the debris mode on Storm Track Doppler radar just to check and see in case no debris. But that doesn't mean a tornado is not producing debris and it's just not lofting it as high up. The stronger tornado, the higher it lofts that debris up into a thunderstorm. And so you can still have a tornado and not show up on there just because of the way the radar works. So let's go up a couple of scans, get the exact location. That rotation becomes more diffuse aloft, but it's very strong at the surface. That is still substantial. Let's get some comparison locations on here. Ripley, I still want you in tornado shelter. Ripley, got to be there. I'm going to track the northern part of this in case the tornado is not completely dead into Ripley, because it has kind of spun off. We'll go 1 minute on the northern part. Southern part of this is probably going to stay to your south if you live in Ripley. I'm going to track it into your town just in case, 4 minutes. Because it's spun off and come at a weird angle, I'm still going to include Claryville in this. It says 3 minutes. And I probably ought to include Dumas, just in case it kind of heads off in that direction. 6 minutes for you. Tornadic rotation that's strong when we go up on this. I mean, very strong on this thunderstorm. That's still very impressive. So we believe that still is probably either very close to developing a tornado or a tornado that's on the ground at this moment. Current time is 5:43. I'm meteorologist Matt Lobhan alongside meteorologist John DeLusick and Joel Young, some members of North Mississippi Storm Chasers and Spotters, helping us out as they have all day long, continue to assess this situation. We have technically 3 tornado warnings in effect for the WTVA viewing area, 2 that overlap in Union and Tippah counties, another one for Lafayette County, though that circulation about to exit Lafayette County, and I believe that warning will be allowed to expire within the next few minutes here. The tornado warning that does include New Albany is in effect until 6:15. That rotation back to the west isn't as impressive as what's going on up in Tippah County, but it is still pretty stout. The rotation at this moment on Storm Track Doppler radar, I show back west of New Albany, near the Darden community. If we go up a couple of scans on this, what we see is I put that positioning close, awful close to I-22, between Pumpkin Center, we're going to be approaching Pumpkin Center, but about halfway between Myrtle and New Albany is where that is. I would put it no more than probably a mile or 2 off of I-22. So if you know some folks traveling along I-22, hopefully we got them stopped earlier. But if we didn't, and they're between New Albany and Myrtle right now, call. Let them know they're in danger, that this storm has a history of rotation. In a couple occasions looked like it produced damage, something we're going to have to get as the newsroom continues to gather more information to confirm that. But definitely a substantial circulation on that continuing. Joel? I'm going to bring you in on this for a second, and I know we have everyone back there doing about 1,000 things. Have we had any confirmation of, like from our Facebook followers? I know we have a lot of Facebook followers. They say a lot of things in our discussion, and we appreciate you asking the questions on the Facebook live stream. But We'd really appreciate if you have reports after this moves through. And no damage in X location is a report, believe it or not. Joel, have we had any of those coming in?
Which one is this you're talking about?
I'm just trying to find out if we've had any reports on Facebook from any of our fans recently.
I'm at a loss at some right now of really information. Let's see. Now I did just get this 5:44 severe thunderstorm producing a tornado near Ripley, northeast at 50. So that's
that northern
what
storm.
we've been talking about.
That's that strong thunderstorm.
But also, I mean, what I'm saying is what you're saying. The rotation maybe crossing I-22 north of New Albany, between New Albany and Myrtle.
Okay, but no one's like on Facebook or Twitter.
I haven't seen anything, but I'm going to continue
That's
looking.
good. If we get no reports and everybody's in their house in the middle, safe, we'll make it through. It's not as though we won't find out about a tornado after the fact. We're going to find out about it. So if we find out later after everyone's been safe and no one's been spotting it, that's fine. So you know, that's obviously, frankly, that's the goal. If no one goes out and takes a chance with their life, we don't want that. But this is substantial. 105 mile per hour pixel to pixel wind change is still very, very strong. And you go ahead and probably mute your mic, Joel, when that goes off. So I would put it along 370 just east of New Albany, excuse me, just southeast of Ripley. Southeast of Ripley, not New Albany, okay? Southeast of Ripley, where we have this tornadic circulation still continuing to be strong, moving northeast. I'm still keeping it 60. That might be a little aggressive, but I'd rather be too aggressive than not aggressive enough. And now we have to start tracking this into Alcorn County, assuming that this holds together. So let's look closer now. And there's no guarantees this holds together. The track of this is a little south of Corinth, probably more toward Biggersville and the Glen community. But we're looking at 14 minutes to Crumtown, 19 minutes to Kossuth, Corinth in 27 minutes, and 33 minutes into Acton. Glen community, I'd still put it for you at about 28 minutes or so if it held together. Rienzi, probably not going to travel that far down to the south and east, but we're going to have to watch it nonetheless. It'll be close, but it's probably just a little north of you. But if you live in Alcorn County, we need to be making our final preparations. I could make an argument, still have a chance to get to a sturdy structure if it's not your mobile home, because it's not, or if it's not a house that you feel comfortable in. If you have a friend that has a basement, go there. If you live in Alcorn County, you can do that. If you live in Tippett County, you can't. Whatever room you're in, whatever, not necessarily room, but whatever building you're in, let's make the best of it. That's all we can do at this point. And the best of it, as we like to say, when we look at those tornado safety rules, is the lowest floor, the middle of the lowest floor, and a sturdy structure. That means one that's well built, not a mobile home, not a car, not good enough. Turn up the volume on your TV, wrap up with blankets, pillows, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. Let's give a couple of all clears with these thunderstorms now. And if you live in Lafayette County, we can come out of our tornado safe place. That's not to say that we don't go back there for another thunderstorm. But this one back toward Charleston continues to weaken, still shows rotation. These back in the western part of the county still continue to weaken. Or actually, these are in a strengthening mode, but they're still not strong enough to produce tornadoes at this instant. So if you live in Lafayette County, we can come out of our tornado safe place at this moment. If we live in Union County, that's not the case. Etta, if you give me about another 5 minutes in Etta, we'll call it good for this round, okay? Myrtle, we're watching this closely. New Albany, obviously, we're watching this very closely as well. Let's go to the wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. These just continue to move really, really fast, and they continue to take turns being the strong one. Okay. So my third storm is almost dead now. That's what's happened to me in the last few minutes here. The rotation near Myrtle continues to be fairly intense. This shows 50 miles per hour, but I will bet if we check another radar site, stronger, up to almost 60 miles per hour. That's not super duper strong, but that's still enough that we could be seeing at the very least wind damage and possibly seeing this attempt to produce a tornado. Now latest lock on the location, I'd have it east of Myrtle by about 3 or 4 miles, northwest of New Albany, near Pumpkin Center, maybe just a little north of that, is where this rotation and possible tornado would be. I'm going to include Cotton Plant in this track, and I'm going to go south and get Concord and a few other spots. Cotton Plant, many folks know that because of all the inflatables they have up there. My daughter loves it. They probably have those put up today, and they probably need to be in a safe place. And if you live near Cotton Plant, you need to be doing so as well. Bluff, Claryville, same situation. We've got to be in a safe place right now, preparing for this what could be a tornado. It's not as impressive as it was 15, 20 minutes ago, but we don't want to diminish the warnings related to it because it doesn't take long for these to spin back up, spin back down. That's just kind of the way it works in this situation. And now we have what I would believe to be a strong and damaging tornado, potentially as damaging as anything we've seen today, on the ground east of Ripley. We're talking no more than probably 5 or 6 miles east of Ripley, just north of Highway 4, just south of Highway 2. What I see is 138 miles per hour pixel-to-pixel wind change on this, what is likely damaging thunderstorm. If I don't have tornado debris on it right now, I'm not looking at the right product here. I don't have tornado debris. So I'm going to double check the radar site here. We're going to look at a different radar site because Monroe County is just not catching it. So let's find one that is. Let's see if we can find up there in Memphis, not catching it. Well, like we say, it's not a predictive tool, but that has got to be. That is probably a strong tornado on the ground east of Ripley, moving northeast at 55 to 60 miles per hour. I'm going to check the speed on this. We've got to check the speed. I want to nail that down. That is substantial. That's as strong as anything we've seen on Doppler radar today. And that is something you got to take seriously. If you live in Corinth, now you're under tornado warning because of that. Let's go ahead and track this back a moment. Let's get how far it's moved. So I'm still probably moving in the neighborhood of 50 to 60, at least 55 to 60. So 60 is still good. We're going to keep 60 as the movement on this. All Corn County under a tornado warning now because of this. Does include Corinth, does include Rienzi, Collinsville. A tornado that's likely strong and damaging and on the ground and significant. 6:30 p.m., the time until this tornado warning is in effect. That is a little more than a half hour. You're in Corinth, you're in Rienzi. Be in your safe place and be there now. This is in Tippah County and approaching you, and it is strong, very strong. Let's go to the wind mode and storm track Doppler radar. Let's go up a couple of scans here to get a better lock on the current location, because what the radar does is it scans low and it goes up and it scans low and goes up so we can see it. And at the surface, really strong. Not as impressive aloft, but we're also looking way high in the thunderstorm because of where it's located. So I would put our rotation pretty much along Highway 2, about 6 to 7 miles east-northeast of Ripley. Tornado believed to be strong and likely damaging on the ground at this moment, moving toward the north and east. If it holds on this path at 55 to 60 miles per hour, Collinsville 5 minutes, Hightown 8 minutes, Kossuth 12 minutes, Corinth 20 minutes, and Farmington in about 23 minutes. One thing we haven't talked about, hail sizes, large. Finally getting a hail report in, golf ball size hail near Myrtle. We might pass that along to the Weather Service in the chat there, Mark, if you can. Just let them know golf ball size hail near Myrtle out of one of the more recent thunderstorms to move through there. So that's substantial hail. We're not touching on that because hail will hurt, it'll damage a cross, it'll mess up a roof, it'll damage your car, it's probably not going to kill you. So we don't dwell a lot on hail, but that is a sign. That is a symptom of another problem, the fact that you have the strongest updrafts when you get the largest hailstones with this. So substantial as far as that is concerned. Reports coming in from the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency, and I'm gonna back this up just a little bit so we have everybody's tornadoes on this for a second. This coming from them just a little bit ago, but talking about some of the tornadoes. So far, Benton County, this report as of 5:45 p.m., a car is damaged along Highway 5 near the town of Ashland. Mississippi Highway 5 is closed. Coahoma County, damage to homes and the airport near the city of Clarksdale, at least one injury. And that's what we talked about earlier. Planes also damaged with that, near devastation near a farm airport there. Marshall County, homes damaged and power lines down near Mississippi Highway 4 and Mississippi Highway 7 near the city of Holly Springs. Mississippi Highway 7 is closed and search and rescue is being performed, looking for those affected. Panola County, homes damaged near the town of Sardis, at least 2 injuries, and Highway 315 between Sledge and Sardis is blocked while crews remove debris. Damage to homes in Quitman County, damage to areas near Brownsville community in the extreme northern tip of Tippah County, and that was with the first storm. We're not getting the damage reports yet in for this second storm that's likely producing damage. I'm going to go to this Union County storm, and then we're going to plug in on that north one. That is impressive and likely a long track and could be deadly situation if we don't respect it. So let's go to Union County, which any of these could be a deadly situation if we don't respect it. Rainfall can be a deadly situation if you're not paying attention, you're trying to text and drive. That's why we want you to just stay at home, stay where you're at, stay put, and we'll make it through this. New Albany, the rotation is going to stay to your north. We kind of always anticipated that. We kept putting you in the track. We just want you to be in a safe place. Give me 5 more minutes in New Albany, and I'll feel pretty good about you. Bluff community, 3 minutes for the rotation north of town, and the Dumas community in about 9 minutes. I'd slice both those by a minute or so because this data is just dated by maybe a minute or two. So let's get a better shot as we kind of head eastward here. And it shows Molino, if you live near that, in about 8 minutes for that rotation if it heads on more of an easterly track. And let's, looking back toward the west, there's still a little rotation in this, but not nearly as impressive what's going on between New Albany and Cotton Plant right now. This is a substantial, likely damaging tornado that is on the ground that's about to cross into extreme southwest Alcorn County, that's moving north and east at 60 miles per hour. Latest track on this, looking at folks directly in the path. We're not going to get a ton of folks to pop up on here. We do get Hightown in 6 minutes, Kossuth in 9 minutes, Biggersville in 12 minutes, Jobs in 16 minutes. The time is ticking. We have got to get to our tornado safe place, and we've got to do it now. Okay? Tornado safe place. Let's talk about the rules. Lowest floor. We want you in a sturdy structure. Mobile home's not going to count, not going to be good enough. Middle of that structure, turn up the volume in your TV, wrap up in blankets and pillows, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. And that's not now. By the way, as you lose television signal, and that happens with certain providers, we're not going to name names, but that happens with certain providers, as you lose television service, we are streaming live right now at WTVA.com/live. You can check us out there. We'll continue to bring you updates there. I'm streaming live on Facebook down here. You're not going to be able to see what's behind me, but you will be able to hear the warning information as you go to your safe place if you can't hear a TV in there. Something to consider and something I'd highly recommend. We need to be getting to our safe place if we live in Alcorn County, and I mean Corinth and Biggersville. We need to be there already. We need to be there now. Let's look up a couple of scans. Let's get our positioning down to the nitty-gritty. I now have it in southwest Alcorn County. Moving toward the northeast, approaching Collinstown. As you can see, it's pretty close to County Road 550, I believe that is there, and is going to be approaching within about the next 5 minutes Hightown, and eventually Kossuth. It's on a path that will take it toward Kossuth and potentially close to Corinth. I don't know if it makes it as far north as Corinth, but it's close. And by the way, if you're looking at this going, well, what's he yammering on about? I'm yammering on because if you go to the latest scan on this and you go to the lowest level, it's much, much more substantial. So I'm just going up not to see it look bad, but to get the positioning right on this. Our meteorologist, Joe Young, still working to assess this situation. Joel, what do you got?
Yeah, this is just a report from Holly Springs, but Mike Brown, professor at Mississippi State University, meteorology professor, he has gotten word that there are apparent fatalities in the Holly Springs area.
Okay. Do they know?
I haven't seen anything other than that. I'll try to find out.
Okay. That's what you don't want to hear. That was as bad as a tornado gets, as bad as it looks. Now, the perspective on that, and we had confirmation, that tornado on the ground more than an hour, closer to 2 hours. So extremely substantial as it moved through. This tornado here, let's look at the debris mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. I'm going to keep going back to this because each time I go back, I'm still kind of surprised I'm not seeing debris. It's a good thing. I'm not going to complain about it, but I'm a little surprised I'm not seeing debris on this. Because with that kind of return, I would expect to. So fingers crossed, but this is a very substantial return. It's not as substantial as what was occurring in Holly Springs earlier, but it still continues to be extremely strong as it moves toward the north and east. So let's get you a latest track on that, latest movement, now latest update. Biggersville, Corinth, Kossuth, you're in the target zone for this. We're talking 14 minutes or less moving toward Corinth. So this is substantial as it moves in from the north and west. Tornado warnings do continue also for Union as well as Tippah counties. We're looking at southern sections of Tippah County, northern Union counties. And while there are more storms back to the south and west, they are a little bit less intense. WTVA News at 6 starts right now.